Goldylocks Productions provides professional internet, TV, and radio shows in the spiritual and New Age genre.
Hey everybody, welcome to another Tuesday edition of the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show with myself, Anthony Rodriguez, Walking Crow. I'm forgetting my name. I'm stumbling over my name. But before we get started, I'm going to drum in spirit so we can move on into the show. All right, here we go. Welcome back to the edition of the Transformational Sacred Medicine Show, everybody. Glad to have you back. Glad you made it through another week of the solstice. We moved into the solstice last Thursday. So tomorrow, this Thursday coming up, is the full moon, the full pink moon. The energy is going to slow down a little bit. Mars has gone into retrograde and it's doing its thing, but don't pay any attention to that. I'm only mentioning it for the sake of mentioning it. Don't get hung up on that. Hi, Cindy, welcome. Good to see you, honey. Don't get hung up on those things that are distractions, because you have enough distractions in your life that you don't say no to. You're busy saying yes to your distractions, I hope. But before we get started down that road, let's burn a little. I'm going to burn a little sweetgrass today. This sweetgrass, where is this from? This is from California someplace. I don't remember where I got it. But I'm going to burn a little sweetgrass and ask Creator Great Spirit that I would be a clear channel, that I would be clear, that Tiffany would be clear of any energies that aren't necessary here, that the spirit guides and the spirits and the medium and the guides that are here would be with us and help us to channel a good message, that all the electronics and the microphones and the phone lines, and it would allow us to vibrate out a good message across Sedona and across the land and across Arizona and across the United States and over the oceans and around the world and through the mountains. Aho, aho, aho. And thank you, Great Spirit. Thank you, Mother, Great Mother. Aho. So I did say what I said. We are live from Sedona. I am live from Sedona. Sarah, welcome. Good to see you again, honey. So we are live from Sedona, and that's where the show is going to come from this point forward. Except for next week, I'm going to be back in Los Angeles I have clients there next week, so I'm going to be back there doing some stuff on the 4th of July, my sister's birthday. Going to go visit a friend in Carlsbad. Maybe go see Deepak Chopra and let him know what I know. Anyways, so yeah, right. I'm gonna let Deepak Chopra know what I know. And I also want to remind you to be extraordinary. You are extraordinary. You have always been extraordinary. You will always be extraordinary, regardless of what other people see, say, want you to be, whatever all that stuff is. Flu. Let go of that. Release those things and allow yourself to walk in the power of who and what you have always been, who and what you are. Rudy's here in the house. All right, welcome, Rudy. Glad you can make it too. So be extraordinary. Be extraordinary. Aho, aho, aho. So let me go to my calendar real quick. This is going to be real quick because there's not a really lot on there, but there's going to be coming soon. So as usual, on Tuesday, the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific time, right here on BeLive TV, Facebook, and Blog Talk Radio. And if you miss the show, you can find it in the archives at Spreaker. You can find it on YouTube, on my channel at Anthony Rodriguez Walking Crow, Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine, or the Goldylocks Productions page as well, okay? And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube page and to Goldylocks Productions page as well. A lot of great shows on there. Also, Sound Vibration Magic Drum Journey. Last week, I apologize. There was no signal where I was, so I couldn't do anything about that, and we just couldn't get it done. We got about 6 seconds of it, but I'm going to do that tomorrow, Wednesday. I'm going to shift that to Wednesday, but because here in Sedona, a lot of events and things take place on Thursday, which I'm going to be scheduling. So I apologize for the late notice, but Sound Vibration Magic Drum Bath Journey will be from this point forward on Wednesday, except for the 4th of July. And maybe I'll do it on the 4th of July on Wednesday too, because I'll be able to have some privacy where I'm going to be. And Transformational Sacred Drum Transformational Sacred Drum Making Journey with Walking Crow in Nevada City on July 28th. Ingrid Turner, who had a show, I think, does she still have a show on Goldylocks? She is going to be hosting that event. It's $200. And if you're in Nevada City on the 28th and the 29th, come up and join us for that event. You will walk away with a 12-inch elk hide drum. We are going to walk through the ceremony, offering of tobaccos, offering of sages, setting intentions of the cylinders, the frame, writing your intentions if you want. We're going to set the intentions for the hide and soak them. And then we're going to come back the next morning and we're going to come in and do ceremony again. And we're going to smoke with tobacco the cylinders and the hides. And we're going to create that drum again. A whole $200. That space is limited to 10 to 15 people. The first 5 people who sign up are going to get a $25 discount. And then we're going to do that again on August 11th in Los Angeles. This is going to be a one day. So people are going to get to come. We're going to do ceremony. Then they're going to go off and do whatever it is they do during the day. And then they're going to come back at 5:30 in the afternoon, and we're going to do ceremony and put those drums together. That also is going to be in Silver Lake. That's hosted by an amazing medicine woman shaman named Xochi Ashe. Xochi means flower. Xochi is a Nahuatl word from my past language of my people. I am Tarahumara, and so that's where that language comes from. That's going to be $200 as well. There's a $25 discount to the first 5 people who sign up. And so get that done, get her done. And then on August 18th, I'm going to be doing the same event. We're going to be making drums in Asheville, North Carolina. So it's $200, limited to 10 to 15 people. And the first 5 people are going to get a $25 discount. And that's a pretty big, $25 is $25. That's maybe a half a tank of gas these days in California. Who knows? Yeah, half a tank of gas in California. So, so here we go. And moving on into the show, I want to thank everybody for coming again. And today, this morning I put out a video on Facebook, on social media, and you can also find it on my YouTube page. And I was talking about your yes. When will you step into your yes and stop giving yourself a lifetime of no's? Self-doubt, self-loathing, what is my self-worth? Do I have self-worth? Do I do self-care? All those things that set you off or on a different path from the norm, from the regular herd. Yesterday's message was about mediocrity. Are you living a life of mediocrity? Are you not stepping into the greatness of who and what you are, working from a place of your heart, working from a place of your fire, working from the place of your water and your root and connection, coming out of the darkness and into the voice of what it is you have to say, what it is you have to share, what it is you have to give. What are your gifts? Have you been able to cut the cords and let go of those things that have burdened you and kept you from your true self? Have you been living the life of your mother? Have you been living the life of your father? Have you been living the life of your wife, the life of your husband, the life of the child? Or have you stepped into the power of who and what you are and who and what you have always been? Are you being extraordinary? Are you? Can you? Will you? Do you? Aho. I ask these questions every week. And it's important to ask them right now, really right now, because we have been waiting for 2018. We have been waiting for this time period. We have been waiting for this solstice. This solstice is so important because of the seeds we have sown through spring, because we're on our way to autumn, fall, a time of letting go of leaves, a time of abundance, a time of gratitude. Every day should be a time of gratitude. In fact, gratitude is a daily investment. Aho. Are you ready to invest in yourself? Are you ready to invest in your truth? Are you ready to invest in the soul that Creator Great Spirit, Aho, gave to you and allowed you to have free will with? You have free will and you get to choose on Tuesday. It's Tuesday and we're back to that. What will you choose that'll set you apart from the herd, set you apart from the norm? You know, there comes a time, especially in like the anonymouses, the 12-step programs, they say, you know, get in the middle of the herd, because if you're on the edge of you're on the perimeter of the herd, you'll get picked off. Well, that's not always true, because sometimes you can run fastest as an elk or a deer or one of those spirit animals when you're away from the pack. Sometimes the pack will slow you down because that herd, that will slow you down because you're running behind a slower animal. Not that that's not okay, but when will you come to the path and take the path less traveled that is your path, that you say yes to? Can you say yes to? What is it that you're holding on to that you haven't been able to shake loose? Shake loose. Shake loose. That's holding you back. Is it the fear of being judged by those around you? You know, is it the fear of being judged by your own self, by your own fear, by your own hate, self-hate, by your own anger? Yes, I said self-hate. There are a lot of people who self-hate, and a lot of people who self-hate self-medicate because they can't stand the way they feel. Oh, I'm going to tell you a little secret about me. I love the way I feel. I love what's happening in my life. You know, not many people get to do what I just did, or won't do what I just did. I just walked away from a job. I just said, I'm not doing this anymore because I can't do this anymore. I told my boss when he asked me what I was going to be doing, I said, I'm going to work for myself because I'm working for you and I'm broke, and I can be broke working for myself or come into a different way of living, because I'm stuck there. As long as I'm there in that place with that organization, I will be stuck and I will not have the freedom to move forward and fly. Sunday before I left to come to Sedona, I came across, and I talked about this, that crow, and I took the wings from that crow, and I did ceremony, and I took the talons from that crow. And what I realized, that when I took the wings from that crow, I came into my wings as walking crow, and I am here in Sedona to soar through my life. Are you willing to soar through your life, or do you want to be sore and angry and disgruntled and not care for yourself in a way that's good and loving and for only you? Aho shino, ahonata, aho shina se. What is it you want to do for your life? How is it you want to manifest? I know that my friend Sarah, who's listening with little Austin and probably Anthony, I received I know that she moved forward the other day. She did fire ceremony. And do you know how powerful ceremony is when you're willing to do ceremony? How powerful ceremony is when you're willing to come into the willingness alone of doing that. It is a powerful statement to where you're going and where you have been. Aho, willingness. Simple willingness will change your life and the lives of people around you. Aho, aho. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Oishino, oishino, oishino. I want to remind you that you're listening to the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show with Anthony Rodriguez Walking Crow, and the call-in number, and please call in to area code 323-870-3791. I'm waiting to hear from you. Ask a question, get a healing, get a reading, disagree with what I have to say. Agree with what I have to say. It doesn't matter, because when you disagree or agree or whatever it is that you do, you stand in the power of who and what you are. And that's what's most important. That is most important. You no longer have to hide under a rock from anything or anybody. Not that you need my permission, because I didn't need anybody's permission. I lived a lifetime of waiting for people's permission to be okay with myself, for them to be my friend, for them to be my lover, for them to be my mother, for them to be my father, for my family. And what happened was nothing happened. I got more disgruntled and more angry and more fearful about not being loved, not being cared for, and not being nurtured. And what I discovered was I'm the lover, I'm the nurturer, I'm the parent. And it was apparent that I was the parent, and I am the parent. And I continue to parent myself through life as I move forward, as I come to Sedona and start a new life, as I walk away from that old life in Los Angeles, which wasn't mine to begin with. That was their life, a whole. Over the last few shows, I've been talking about how my name, Anthony Rodriguez, is not my name. That was my given name. That comes from that Catholic culture, that European culture that isn't mine. I'm an indigenous native soul to these United States. That is not my name. And maybe Walking Crow is not my name, but my name will come, and I will be told that when it's time. And I'm ready for that. I'm ready to receive that. Are you ready to receive the goodness in your life? Are you ready to receive the things that you have always avoided, like self, avoiding your voice, avoiding looking at yourself in the mirror because you might be too fat, too skinny, too tall, too short, too light, too dark? What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it that frightens you and that keeps you in fear? What is it that frightens you and potentially keeps you smoking because you don't want to talk about the things you need to talk about, and you take that into your lungs, the place of your heart space. And instead of saying, can you help me? Will you love me? You got a minute. You do that and give yourself that which is fleeting. It is fleeting. It is fleeting. I got a caller on 417. Caller, how's it going? Who am I speaking to? Hello? Caller, are you there?
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, it's Cindy. Hi, this is Cindy.
Hi, Cindy. How are you?
Oh, I got to turn the phone off so I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, I'm good. I'm mixed up.
What are you mixed up about, Cindy?
I don't know. I'm listening to too many people.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of us.
And I mean, sometimes, I disagree with some people, and then also I'm having trouble with sometimes people like numb my light out. And okay. Oh my gosh, Anthony, I just threw out some bad vibes when they done that, and now I feel like I'm back to square one. And yesterday evening, last night when we went to bed, I was just in so much pain in my feet all over again, just from being angry, and that's what it was. It was being angry. I only got 4 hours of sleep last night. I woke up this morning, my feet, there was absolutely no blood flow in my feet. They were blue.
Oh, wow.
But I got up about 2 o'clock, about 10 till 2 this morning. I finally just got out of bed, and I come in here into the living room, and I just sat here and just quietened my mind, and I just crying and just saying, I'm sorry and forgive me and I love you, and I think I'm
This is true. I was just talking about that self-hate, that self-anger, you know. That's why you're resonating with it so closely. You know, that's why you called in. I've been watching you shadowing me for weeks now, and you've been healing, but every time you feel like you get angry. And by the way, it's okay to get angry, Cindy. It's okay to get mad. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel wounded. It's okay to get hurt. It's okay to cry. And crying is something that you're going to have to do a lot of. You know, I had to do a lot of crying.
I didn't mean to interrupt you on that. When I was a child, I remember all the way back 5 years old, my dad was real hard on us, and we was not allowed to cry.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
So I'm like a little baby, and the faucet is running.
Let it run, baby. Let it run. You know what's interesting about that? My father was this old world kind of guy, and he would say mean things like, because he didn't know any better, he would say things, only queers cry. You know, and what kind of message is that to give a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old? That's the kind of messages that I got. So, you know, but interestingly enough, I never paid attention to those messages because I cry at a drop of a hat now. I cry because it's the most cleansing, healing thing that I can do, is to be with the wounds that I've been carrying around for a lifetime. Because those wounds, Cindy, they're not yours to carry around. Those are the wounds of your father. Those are the wounds of his ancestry. They're not yours, baby girl. Your wounds, you know, in fact, you and I have to talk later offline, because we need to do a cord cutting ceremony with you so you can let go of those things. It's time for you to quit carrying those things. Your feet in your root, when you don't have a firm foundation, that's what's going on with you. You don't have a firm foundation, because anytime you get into a disagreement and you're angry, you become uprooted. You know, you've heard me talk about being rooted and fruited. You know, we have to make sure that we take time to ground and be in our feet and be in our perineum and be in our coccyx, and allow our feet to sink down and our energy to sink down into Mother Earth, and allow Mother Earth's energy to flow up into our bodies, so we can be whole and we can be fortified in that root chakra. I know also that, and I'm reading you right now, you have obviously broken connections, and that is keeping you from moving from your place of your second chakra, your water, your place of connection, emotion, to your heart space, to give yourself a more loving attention, to be more nurturing to your nature. You hear me talk about that all the time. Nurture your nature. And how do you do that? Well, one of the first ways to do that is to stoke a low burning fire. Low self-esteem needs oxygen to burn. And a lot of times when we're angry, we carry that energy in our fifth chakra, or our high heart, and it never even makes it into our lungs. It never makes it through the lungs into the place of stoking the fire. So I'm going to ask you to put your feet on the floor. I'm going to ask you to put your hands on your thighs and sit up straight. And I'm going to ask you to take a breath. And when you take the breath, I want you not to take it into your lungs, but I want you to take it through your lungs, that heart space, lungs, air. I'm loved. I don't have the capacity to love. I don't have the capacity to be loved. And I want you to take a loving breath through your lungs and your heart space into the place of your fire. And I want you to stoke that fire and give that fire the love and the nurturing that it needs. So your self-esteem, your esteem starts to grow as soon as that fire starts to boil the water in the second chakra, and that holy vapor starts to rise. Okay, go ahead and take a deep breath with me. 1, 2, 3. Inhale. See that fire. Watch it grow, and exhale. And one more time. Inhale. Watch that fire grow and get bigger. Inhale. Exhale. Excuse me. And one more time. Inhale. And that fire is growing, and that water is starting to boil in the second place of the second chakra. And exhale. It's starting to boil. And inhale.
Yes.
And it's starting to overflow into the root chakra, and it's starting to provide minerals and water and fortify that foundation. And exhale. And one more time, inhale. And that esteem is starting to rise, and it starts to warm your heart, and it starts to move upward into the fifth chakra where that mucus lives, where that block is, where those things are that you have not been able to say for a lifetime. And it clears out that mucus. And take a breath. Inhale and exhale, and allow that esteem to rise, and allow that voice to be opened up, that block to be removed, that mucus to dissipate and go away, and come out of the darkness of the thinking of the things that happened or didn't happen, or we think of constantly, and we spin in the stories that are not happening right here, right now. And we start to come into our voice and talk about those things, and the clarity starts to come, and the healing starts to come, Cindy. We're going to have to move into your voice. We're going to have to do more breathing with you, and I will teach you that offline. And this is a problem that a lot of Americans...
I'm going to go onto your website.
All right. Yeah. Go on to my website, and, we'll set an appointment, and where we'll do a conference call where you and I will be solo, and we'll go into some healing teachings. All right. Because you already sound like you're feeling better just from doing that little short exercise.
Yes. I wanted to also tell you, last night when I was laying in bed before I got up at 2 o'clock in the morning, I was feeling this coming from my feet. I literally felt this going all the way up my legs, and it was like electrical bolt. It was like it was firing from one leg to the other. It was literally, they were like firing and making connection.
Yeah.
And I felt it just go all the way up my leg. And when I'm coming here to the living room this morning at 2 o'clock in the morning, you know how, I don't know, you've got short hair, but a woman with nice dead hair, and there's a loose hair on you, and you can feel it kind of drawing with electric, and it'll draw over on you. I swear, it felt like there was a real long hair on my right leg, and I could feel it as I take a step. Every time I put one foot in front of the other, I could feel this connection firing over into my other leg. I know it has to do with energy.
Yes. Remember...
But,
go ahead.
I have not, since I've injured myself, I have not made much of a connection with the earth. I mean, from my bare feet down into the dirt or in any water in 4 years.
Yeah, it's time to take your shoes off and go outside, Cindy. It's time to sit on the roots of a tree, lean on a grandmother tree. It's time to put your feet on the earth and bask in the water and cleanse yourself in any water that you can find. If you're near a creek, or if you're near a river or a lake or anything that's close to that, I would suggest that, start picking up rocks and start noticing the trees and what they're doing and what the animals are doing, what's happening around you, and be with your surroundings. Ground yourself in that way. I think you said to me the other day in messaging that you had walked to the store. Is that right? And back?
Yeah, but I didn't walk there. I didn't walk to the store. I walked up. Okay, our driveway is about 3/4 of a mile long.
That's a long driveway.
From my house to the mailbox, from the mailbox back to my house. I mean, I'm way out in the woods.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm just surrounded with just woods and trees, and so it was about a 3/4 of a mile long walk. It only took me about 10 minutes to walk it, but I didn't walk barefoot. I can't wear tennis shoes. I can only wear certain types of flip-flops. You've got to have a good arch support.
Yep.
But I can't wear anything over the top of my feet. I haven't been able to. I'm not saying I can't. I haven't been able to. So I wore my flip-flops, but I'm going to go out and walk around in my yard and, on our property. And I am going to the creek tomorrow.
There you go.
And I am going to bathe in that water.
If you have any Himalayan salt or any sorts of salts, take some salts with you and cleanse yourself, rub your body with those salts and allow yourself to lay in the creek and let the water wash those things away. Let them fall over the rocks.
Okay.
As you pour water over yourself. Let them fall over the rocks and cleanse yourself and clear yourself and give that self to yourself. Water is first medicine. Water is life. It's first medicine, a whole. We cannot live without it. So we have to give those things.
And we were in water, yes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Cindy, thank you for calling, and thank you for having that shift that you had while you were on the phone. And remember, when you're in tears, when you start to cry, don't stop yourself. Allow yourself to have those moments of clarity and clearing through the tears. Those tears, mucus, tears, all those things, that comes from the heart lung area, and allow yourself to clear in that place. So you don't have to be angry. You don't have to be hurt. You don't have to be wounded over things that have nothing to do with you. Aho?
Okay, aho. Yes, sir.
All right, Cindy.
I know they're cleansing because I feel a great relief after I do a good hard cry.
Yeah.
And after I got done crying at, it was like 3:30 in the morning. I was finally able to lay down without any pain and go to sleep after a good hard cry. And just talking out loud to myself.
Yeah, let it out.
I talked out loud so I could hear myself.
Good for you. Good for you.
And that pain went away.
There you go. See the power of vibration, the power of voice, the power of right hand moving forward, giving that out, giving the way, moving forward with it, right hand, and you receive in the giving, in the moving forward of the divine masculine energy of the right side, the divine feminine follows and receives that as love and nurturing and care that you just gave yourself. A whole.
Okay.
A whole.
I do see a therapist.
Uh-huh.
She's a psychotherapist, and I do see her not on a regular basis. She's like 4 hours away. I have to drive to go see her.
Yeah.
But she is. She showed me how to do the tapping, and she has a website I could go on, and she even does the vibrational things too. And I've also found a whole lot of those vibrational sounds on YouTube. So, like the past 3 days, I haven't been on Facebook much. I've been on YouTube.
I've seen you there.
I found a lot of resources on there.
Yeah, absolutely. Tap into it and dig into any and all resources you can, because just like anything else, try whatever it is you can, because you don't know which one of those things is going to work for you better or in adjunct to, So, tap into as many sources as possible. Aho.
Yeah.
Aho. All right, Cindy.
Aho.
Glad that you had this shift on the air, and sharing the way you're sharing with me and with the listening and the viewing audience, they find healing in it too, and you should know that there's solace there for them, and there's healing in it for them. And I'm really glad and I'm really grateful that you called in to share the hurt and the pain and the wounds of what you are trying to walk through, and you're walking through it as much as it's painful in your feet, in your root, you're walking through it, So it's just a matter. Sometimes we have to unearth our roots, Cindy. When you pot a plant, you move from one pot to another. You have to unearth it, break up the roots, break up the dirt, and then put it in another bigger pot with fresh soil and fresh water. Yeah. And then it takes a few days. It's going to wilt, and then it comes back. You know that because heck, you walk down to the mailbox a quarter mile.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to take it from second to second.
Yeah. Yeah.
moment to moment.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to tell you,
Yep.
today has been 12 years that I have been clean from methamphetamine. Now, I have drank some alcohol. I have, but I don't. Very, very rarely. Maybe 3 times a year.
I am so proud of you. I am so proud of you. I have been clean and sober for 26 years. And I tell people 2 and 6 is 26 is the divine feminine number, and 2 and 6 is 8, and that's infinite. So congratulations, Cindy. I'm really proud of you. And thank you for saying that on the air, because there are those out there who may be medicating themselves unknowingly that need to hear you say what you just said, that need to know that I am where love lives, and I am what hope looks like. Cindy is where love lives, and Cindy is what hope looks like. And you am what hope looks like. Oh, there you go. That's a beautiful thing, Cindy. Thank you so much for calling in. Wow. I'm really proud. I'm really proud to know you. You're one of many who shows up for herself on a daily basis. As hard as it is, you show up. There's days. I may not say much, and I listen. All I can do is listen. As long as I can listen every day, I will catch on, and I will be able to use my voice. I hope. Yeah, you're using it now, baby girl. It feels amazing too. Right. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I literally had to move completely out of my home state to another state for this. Yeah. Not just for this, but I would have been in prison if I had been. So, there is a reason for everything. And I think there is a reason that I have been laid up, injured on this couch for 4 years. Yep. That God has put me here so I could not run no more. Yeah, there you go. No more fight or flight. I can't run no more. Cindy, you stay here. You're planted right here. You take care of your problems. Because I run from my problems. Yeah. And I can't run no more. There you go. It's okay. We have to learn how to crawl before we can walk, before we can run, And if we're not meant to run, we're not meant to run. It's, we don't trip over anything if we're walking with purpose, if we're walking with clarity. I hope. Yeah. And it feels good to get to not be, like I said before, an ostrich with my head in the sand. Right. Well, that's what the methamphetamine was. That was your hole that you would stick your head in because you couldn't see the world, and you didn't want the world to see you either. And now you're a beautiful flower. You're a beautiful lotus. You out of the darkness grew Cindy. And that's the way things go, and that's how that happens. And it's a beautiful thing when you're able to, like I said, come into the willingness, and take the first step with the right foot, boom, forward. And the left foot, divine feminine, receives, follows, aho, and it completes a circle of love, like the mantras that we do in the morning when I put the left right over left, and I complete that circle of love for self, love and care for self, aho. It's all about the completion of the circle, completion of love, what you're willing to give yourself, regardless of what the landscape looks like. You know all about. Right on. Yeah. Right on. Yeah. I am blessed. I am blessed. There you are. Yes, you are. And so am I for knowing you. I'm blessed for knowing you. Thank you for your time. You're welcome. You're welcome, Cindy. And reach out to me later. We'll reach out to each other. So we'll get a session set up for you with me so we can have some face-to-face time and we can go through some stuff. Okay? That would be wonderful. You got it, Cindy. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for calling. Oh, I am. All right. And you have a beautiful day as well. Oh, I will. Thank you very much. I hope. Blessings to you. I hope. Folks, that was Cindy calling from Dogwood, Missouri. And she's been following me for a little while, and you heard it. She has her issues in her tissues, and there's things that she's needing to deal with, and she's dealing with, and as hard as it is, as much as it can be a struggle. Take the path less traveled. Take the road less traveled. What is it you're willing to give yourself? What is it you're willing to do that isn't the norm? Do you have to take antidepressants? Do you have to smoke pot? Do you have to do all those things? No. That's just masking the problem and self-medicating. Self-medicate with love. Self-medicate with nurturance, self-care, grounding, sitting on the earth, drinking water, giving yourself good food. Giving yourself and sharing conversation with somebody who, who is open to listening and is willing to take time for you, just like we took time with Cindy. That's what we're here for. We're here to help people. We're not here to send you on your way. No, we're here to help. I want to remind you that you're listening to the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show with myself, Anthony Rodriguez, Walking Crow, and we are live from Sedona. We are live from the village at Oak Creek, right across the street from Bell Rock, right across another street from Courthouse Butte, and we're standing and sitting in the vortices and the energies of this place that are sacred, whole, and nurturing, and I am nurtured in this place, in my stillness, in my voice. I stand in who and what I am, and I'm willing to say yes to my life. I'm willing to say yes to my voice. I'm willing to say yes to the path that shows itself in front of me. Oishino, oishino, oishino. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? I am ready. I am ready. I have been ready. Aho, aho, aho. So, what are you willing to do? And how are you willing to step into the power of who and what you have always been? Aho. 323-870-3791 is the call-in number. Let me know what you have to say. Let me know what's on your mind. Let me know what's going on. And, how has it been building up to the pressure of bursting? Because that happens when we don't tend to the things that are going on in our lives, and we escape into the stinking thinking of our brain. Things start to manifest and things start to develop in our bodies. The issues in the tissues don't go away because we ignore them. They continue to fester and manifest in dis-ease. And are you willing to live in dis-ease? Are you willing to live in self-loathing, self-hate? Or are you willing to say, you know what? I'm going to light a candle for myself today. I'm going to light this white candle for myself today, because white is for Creator, Great Spirit. White is for God. I'm going to burn some sage today and give myself a little clearing and cleansing. I'm going to drink some water. I'm going to drink some water to give myself something good, something that I need. Aho. 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 I just saw something funny, and sorry, it just distracted me, but it's very funny. Thank you, Sarah. So, and I'm laughing because I had sent my friend Sarah a message. She's here in Sedona for the week, and she was going to be coming in while I was doing the show, and she didn't receive the message till right now. So if you heard some rustling in the background, that's what that was. And I keep going regardless of what's happening, and that's how life is. And that's how life should be. When stuff is wrestling in the background, when you feel like you're being distracted by Chicken Little or chicken shit, never mind that that's happening. When life presents you with lemons, make lemonade, make lemonade and drink it, mix it with water, mix it with sugar, give yourself a little sugar, give yourself a little life, give yourself those things that are good for you. Aho. Don't get stuck in the mire of what'll take us to the darkest places. Life is hard enough. Give yourself the blessing of self-care, self-nurturance, and drink of the waters. Drink of the waters. Aho, Wow. I have to tell you, it's been one experience after the other here in Sedona since I got here last Wednesday. I've been here since last Wednesday. And I've been still, and I've been busy, and I've been still, and I've been busy. And when my body tells me to be still, I'm still. I give myself the time to take a nap. I give myself the time to sit with a friend with iced tea. I give myself the time to be with others who are like spirit, like minds, like voices, a whole. Do you give yourself those kinds of things? Or you're out there searching to see who can give it to you? Because no one's going to give it to you. You're going to have to give that to yourself. Just like when they tell you in the plane, and I use the example all the time, when the pressure drops in the plane and the masks fall, put the mask on yourself first. Why? It's simple. You can't give away what you haven't got. You simply can't give away what you haven't got, and it's all about self-care and how you're willing to give that to yourself. You know what? I forgot, and I haven't done this. I want to thank my producer, Tiffany White Sagewoman, for holding space for everybody that has a show on Goldylocks Productions and or on Blog Talk Radio or on Be Live TV, however that comes across. She is an amazing shaman, amazing healer, amazing medium, and she holds down the fort for all of us as well. And she allows us to come into a place and come into a way of giving and sharing a message that we carry. Earlier, I was talking about the cutting cords, and I'm going to be creating a ceremony strictly for cutting cords. And are you ready to cut cords? Are you willing to really start writing those things down like my friend Sarah has? Sarah sent me a message last night that, it was in the fire. She was doing fire ceremony. And are you willing to cut the cords? I was given that tomahawk that you folks have seen a few weeks ago. And as I was doing this show about 3 weeks ago, the guides told me the tomahawk is for cutting cords. And the other night at the solstice, last Thursday at the solstice celebration, everybody did the dance of cutting the cords with the feathers, with the turkey feathers in one hand and the tomahawk in the other. And we cut those cords. And those folks had walked away and went home healed from the burdens that they were carrying. We don't have to continue to carry burdens just because they're ours. We don't have to carry the burdens of others just because we can. We don't have to carry the hurts and the wounds and the shames and of the lineage of eons that isn't ours to carry. It's okay to say no to those burdens. It's okay to take that backpack off, put that suitcase down, and not have to do that. About the only thing you may have to carry today is taking the breath in and carrying that breath with you and carrying it outward. Because it's what's good for you. It's what nurtures your soul. It's what nurtures your nature. It's what stokes your fire, like Cindy just experienced, the stoking of that fire through the heart space, through the lungs. I can, I do, I love, I'm loved. I'm loved. She gave that to herself. She allowed herself to be vulnerable on the air to give herself those things. Are you willing to be vulnerable to yourself? Are you willing to be vulnerable in front of others and not worry about what they think? Because when it really boils down to it, they're not thinking about you. They're thinking about them. Yep. I just said that. They're not thinking about you. They're just thinking about them. So how will you move forward in your life? It's only Tuesday, and you have the ability to choose what it is you want for yourself. You can sit in your darkness. You can sit and take in pot, take in tobacco, and take in alcohol, and spirits in, spirit out. Or you can choose to do something different. You can choose to take your shoes off and put your feet on the floor. You can choose to sit down on Mother Earth, on the grass, on the dirt, on the soil, and allow your perineum to sink in, allow your coccyx to sink in, and allow those energies to rise up into the superhighway of the chakra system and the energy system, and allow yourself to heal and grow in ways that you never imagined. I never imagined myself sitting in a room in Sedona, Arizona, doing a radio show. If you would have told me that 10 years ago, I would have told you were out of your mind and go yourself or something, because that's how I was. I didn't have the esteem. I didn't even have low esteem. I had no esteem. I was an angry man. I was a wounded soul, and I don't have to do that anymore. And neither do you. How will you choose on Tuesday? What intentions will you set for the full moon coming on Thursday? What intentions will you set for the growth of the abundance that's coming for you through the summertime, that you planted the seeds for in the springtime, and that you will reap the harvest of in September and October? Preparing for the den of winter, wisdom, direction of the north, direction of earth, direction of all our relations, direction of white buffalo, wisdom, rest. You no longer have to run from yourself. And you heard Cindy say that. Cindy was running from herself. She was living like an ostrich with her head in a hole, with her head in the sand. And she told me probably a few days ago that she doesn't have to do that anymore. She doesn't want to do that anymore. And it can be pretty hard and pretty scary. And that's called consciousness. Consciousness is not a woo-woo thing where, everything is great and everything is fine. And if that's the way you live, wow, great. But consciousness allows us to come into the things that happen to us in our life, the things that happen in our life, and gives us a new perspective on those things and allows us to move forward. Are you willing to uncover, discover, embrace instead of uncover, discover, discard? Because in the 12 steps of the Anonymous, they teach to discard. And when I discard, for me, that means that I haven't dealt with anything. Uncovering, discovering, so what? Oh, I uncovered it, I see it, but now what do I do with it? But just like my ism that I had an opportunity to do something about, I didn't discard it. I embraced it. I embraced the issues in my tissues. I embraced the angers. I embraced the hurts. I embraced the wounds. And I was able to become empowered by the surrender of those things, by embracing them and knowing that they were going to be with me for this lifetime and lifetimes. But they don't have to rule my life. I get to rule my life. I get to say yes to something different, something better, something healthy. What are you willing to say yes to after a lifetime of no's? I will ask that again. What are you willing to say yes to after a lifetime of no's? Give me a call and let me know. 323-870-3791. Oh, that's the calling number. Be as brave as Cindy. We don't have anything to prove to anybody. But if you're willing to give yourself something and give yourself something that can help you heal. You heard Cindy's tears. You heard Cindy cry. And you feel me cry with her because I do. I cry with her because it's cleansing for me to do that with her, to be empathetic to what's happening with Cindy because I was there too. I talk about it in being the rooted and the fruited tree. I extend my branches into the heavens, and the birds of the air nest in my branches and eat of my fruit. And what is my fruit? My fruit is sharing the experience of how I got from point A to point B. And that's it, and that's all. And you have the Me Too experience. You relate to what I'm talking about, and you understand what I'm talking about because you have too. You have walked that path at the same time. So we get to share back and forth. In Alcoholics Anonymous, they talk about, the rub isn't getting sober. The rub isn't surrendering. The rub is in one alcoholic talking to another and relating the stories and what life was like through that. And that's where the healing is found. That's where the sobriety is found. That's where the love is found. Through palabra, word, vibration through the fifth chakra, sharing those things, coming out of the darkness of the stinking thinking, like I talked about earlier, and allowing yourself to have a voice that is solely and strictly yours. Following it up with a me too, you too, me too. You know, how silly does that sound coming out of my mouth? But so what? What do I care about looking silly or sounding silly? You know? I had a lifetime of hiding out. I had a lifetime of hurts. I had a lifetime of wounds and being spoken to and looked at in a way that wasn't loving, caring, nor nurturing. And now I get to give myself whatever it is that I want in a good way. Aho. Aho. It's been a long, hard road to hoe. And I'm willing to stay on this road and with this path because I get to share it with you. I get to ask you the hard question. And the questions are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you willing to do and ready to do the dance of cutting cords with the tomahawk and the feathers? Are you ready to do that dance with me? If you want to set an appointment with me for a remote healing or an in-office session, or a remote drum healing session, or an in-office drum healing session, or any sort of coaching or mentoring, please feel free to reach out to me at anthony@sacreddrummedicine.com, or you can call my office at area code 818-442-1717. You can go to my what? You can go to my website at www.sacreddrummedicine.com, and you can see what it is I do and see how you can work with me, and you can look at the rates and exactly what it is that I do and how I can help you. There are many ways. There are many ways. I have many tools in my belt, and I'm willing to help you any way I can. And if I can't, I will say, here's this person, go see this person can help you. I will send you in a direction that works for you. Oh, and I wanted to remind you that my producer just reminded me. I don't have any with me today because everything's like packed and stuff. But I still carry the sage for clearing and removing energies, changing energies. If you would like to buy a sage bundle from me, it's $15 per sage bundle. It's $3.75 for shipping. And if you can buy up to 3 bundles, which would be $45, but the shipping would only be still about $3.75 because, you know, it's by weight and that stuff is pretty light, even as big as the bundles that I make. So, reach out to me at anthony@sacreddrummedicine.com and buy yourself a sage bundle, a sage stick, so you can start on clearing those energies. So you can start on finding clarity for yourself and with yourself. I want to remind you that you have been listening to the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine with myself, Anthony Rodriguez, Walking Crow. And again, I will ask you, Oishino, Oishino, Oishino. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? I want to thank the spirits for coming in and the guides for coming and being with us here today. I want to thank Cindy for calling in. And once again, I'd like to thank my producer, Tiffany White Sage Woman, for holding space for us, all of us, on Goldylocks Productions. And not just us, for all of you, the listening audience who dial in to all of the shows and who get to hear it and be blessed by the messages that we have to offer. I feel like I've come to the end of my term with what I have to say today, that I'm done and I'm channeled out. So with that, I'd like to say thank you for coming. My name is Anthony Rodriguez, Walking Crow, and this is the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show for the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine. Thank you for coming and have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.